on this show, guys. We are full flow fantasy football season, and guess who we've got online with us today? It's Tim, aka the Bald Man. What is going on, Tim?
Buongiorno, buongiorno. Oh, it's
Oh, I know.
alive.
Usually it should be have a sheep sound for you because of some of your calls and predictions. But today we want to line you up here, Tim. We want to line you up.
Mm.
All right, Tim. Today we're talking about washed up players over the hill. Should you draft? Are they players to avoid? Are they must drafts? Guys like Derrick Henry, are they at the end of the line? There's some burning questions with some key players that are somewhat, some of them are not as fantasy relevant. Some of them are. We're going to talk about them here. Are they over the hill? And speaking of over the hill, Tim, you actually look pretty good today. You're not wearing those over the hill glasses from the other day.
Dude, I am over the hill. If we're going to talk about some of these guys as being over the hill at like early 30s, I'm prehistoric.
No, you're young. You're young. Look at you, man.
I
Looking
am
good.
as old can be.
All right, Tim, I'm excited, man. We've been doing drafts. People are excited. I'm actually finished watching a preseason game. We're recording this on Thursday night here, the 24th of August. And I just ended up watching a preseason game, and the Steelers looked damn good, man. They looked good. Pickett threw it out, aired it out to Deontay on the side. Nice. I think it must have been a 20-yard plus pass. Then over to Pickens. Najee banged one in. And then Jalen Warren, who could be a pest. A lot of people asking, is Jalen Warren going to be a pest to Najee? Maybe. They both banged one in the red zone there, both Najee and Jalen Warren. We could have ourselves a pest here, Jim, with Najee losing some touches, man. I'm a little concerned.
It's preseason. I
It
don't know. I mean, almost anybody can look good when you play against the C team.
is. Exactly. I think they were number one offense, but I don't even look at the defense. Either way, Jalen Warren looked okay. I'm not really concerned. Najee's still the guy. Don't worry. Obviously, Warren's going to dip in once in a while, hopefully not as often.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about washed up players. Let's queue up the first guy here. But before we do, make sure you guys grab the 16-round draft solution, guys. Sleepers, breakouts, optimal players draft in each round. Everything you need to crush your leagues. Use code SMASH to save. Secure the solution. Secure the championships. You'll be light years ahead of the competition. I always use that the arm analogy. Light years, even though I'm using arm's length.
Buzz Lightyear.
Light years. Tim, that's a good one. All right, let's dive into this, Tim. First over the hill player. Let's talk about what are your thoughts on Mr. Davante Adams coming off some major pinnacle years? Is he washed up? Is this the end of the line with a downgrade at quarterback? What do you think?
Well, definitely expect a drop in points with that downgrade. I mean, that is a huge downgrade. So that's going to hurt him for sure. But wide receivers can typically go a little longer in their career, a few more years playing than a running back. So I think he's still got 1 to 2 really good years left in him where he's going to put up some really good fantasy points. But this year, huge downgrade. Jimmy G, you suck. I'm not one to bash the players, but Jimmy G, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not excited about Jimmy G at all. Now I'm looking at the stats from last year. Finished third. Davante Adams did. I mean, 180 targets, right? So, yes, he's not a top 3-4 guy. I think the consensus have him around 7. He's still coming off in the first round. That's a very expensive pick for a guy who gets a significant decline at quarterback. Seems like he keeps going down, down, down every year. Now, mind you, he benefited from the profit of the targets and the constant targeting of Derek Carr to him. But again, 180 targets, 14 touchdowns, 1,500 yards. Not going to happen for a guy who's, how old is he now, Tim? I got to pull this up here. 30.
Davante, probably like 32,
30.
31.
No, 30. 30.
Yeah.
And it's that magic, that milestone age. I think they hit that like 29, 30. They start falling off a little bit. So 30 into his 10th season and coming off some amazing seasons. You know, he had a down year in 2019. I'm not investing in him. So if you want to punch a first round draft ticket and acquire him and have him, fall apart, that's totally up to you. I'm not investing, Tim.
Yeah, to me, it's not really a knock against him. I think like I said, he still does have 1 to 2 good years, but that's if he had a good quarterback. This year with the drop in quarterback, hell no. I mean, last year we were contemplating or we were debating saying that Carr wasn't going to go to him the way everybody thought he was, blah, blah, blah. Prove me wrong. So what? It happens. Carr went to him in a big way, and it's not going to happen this year. Jimmy G just doesn't have it in him.
Yeah, old age busts. That's what we're talking about. The geezers. Speaking of old geezers here, let's go on to a guy that I'm hoping absolutely completely busts in Keenan Allen. I'm all in on Quentin Johnson, the Chargers' first round pick. All in. Sign me up for Quentin Johnson, round 7 to 9. Keenan Allen coming off round 3. Tim, what are your thoughts on Keenan Allen, who's I think entering his, I don't even know, his 100th season right now?
He's not that bad, man.
He's old, man. He's
He is solid. You've had a hate on for him
I
for a
hate him.
long
I can't
time.
stand him. I can't
I
stand
don't
him.
know why, but like,
He's
yeah,
annoying.
4 or 5 years now, you've always been talking
Yeah,
crap
I
against him.
can't deal with him. I
He's,
can't deal with him.
I don't know why. He's great.
And he looks good. He looks good in preseason. I mean, in training camp. But I am looking at him here, Tim. 11th season, like he was drafted in 2013. Dude, move over. Make
He's
some room.
getting there. He's definitely getting there. Once again, similar to Davante, almost the same age, same everything. So he's getting there, but a young quarterback who can really chuck the ball, I'm not too worried about him this year. He's still going to put up some really good fantasy points.
Check this out though. In 2015, he played 8 games. In 2016, he played 1 game. Then he had a run of like consecutive seasons. Then he
Yeah.
had a 14 gamer in 2020, got banged up. Played a good 2021, and then he got banged up last year, only played 10 games. I'm hoping we have a 2015, 2016, and combined 9 games. I know, Joe, you can't wish injury on people. I'm not wishing injury. I just wish he doesn't play. So, well, if you guys want to say it's an injury, that's totally up to you. I just hope he doesn't play. And here's the thing, Tim. We just talked about what season he's going into, which is his 11th season, drafted in 2013. And this guy, Tim, I'm telling you, is coming off in the 3rd round, which is ludicrous.
I
And again, the
know.
way I look at it is like, remember Jefferson last year? It would be like putting Thielen above Jefferson. Be like, no, it's totally different. It's totally different. Jefferson's better than Quentin Johnson. Blah, 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 and all these excuses. No, I look at it as like, no, Quentin's the future, and Keenan Allen's washed, and we're gonna find out. Let us know in the comments: is Keenan Allen washed? Is it the underline? Will he get hurt, or will he thrive and be a true wide receiver one? I'm not sold in any way, shape, or form that he's the guy.
Well, see, the thing is, a lot of times for rookie wide receivers, it takes them a year or two. Not very many come in and just kill it right from the get go. So I think you might be right next year, but I think Keenan Allen is still very viable for this year. And as a 3rd rounder, I think that's value.
He's gonna break his legs. Okay, moving on to the next one here. DeAndre Hopkins. Is he gonna get a revival here, Tim?
No, this is one where he is over the hill. I mean, start playing the violin, baby. This concert's done. This guy is done.
Actually, I don't have a violin soundtrack here. Hold on. As you keep talking here, I have
No, that's organ.
this is like sad piano music. Is this the end of the line for Hopkins? Is that
Anyways,
the
he's
end
in Tennessee. It ain't happening, man. That is the Derrick Henry show, and we're going to talk about him later too. But it is the Derrick Henry show in Tennessee. Tannehill is not a ball slinger by any means. Ain't happening.
and I'm just pulling up some Hopkins stats here. I mean, he has just fallen off the cliff here. I'm gonna pull up the PP numbers.
Jeez.
147 points PPR guys in 2021. Played 10 games in Arizona. Played 9 games last year, 151 points. Absolute trash. 3 touchdowns last year. He has not got double-digit touchdowns. Dibbit. I said double dibbit. Dip it. Okay. Double-digit touchdowns since 2018. He had 11 touchdowns. In 2019, 7, then 6. What is that? 6, 8. I got to squint now. 3. I need those glasses that we were talking. We're talking about old geezers. I can't even see the screen. Yeah, so he's just like, he's fallen off. Now you can say, well, Joe, he had a 1,400-yard receiving season in 2020. You can say what you want. Guy's entering his 11th season. He's 31 years old, and that's where the fall off happens. We see that with guys like Julio Jones in the past. We've seen it with a ton of wide receivers. I mean, as soon as they hit that 30, I know receivers are a little more, they got more longevity than running backs, but I don't see it. Again, it's a run first team. You got Tannehill throwing the ball. And even if Tannehill doesn't work out, you got Will Levis coming in. How consistent, how good is he going to be as a rookie? A rookie quarterback throwing to a washed up old DeAndre Hopkins, not going to happen. And people are spending like a 5th, 6th round pick on Hopkins. ADP is kind of all over the place. People have mixed feelings. Let me clear those feelings up. Just do not draft. Stay away. Old age bust. I'm not sold. Not investing. Okay, I'm just not doing it.
100% with you.
All right, line up. All right, let's go on to the next one here. And I think there could be some good stuff here. What are your thoughts here on Mr. Aaron Rodgers?
I think the Jets are definitely trying to make a push this year, make something happen after being crap for many, many years. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, we saw it the last couple years. He wasn't the same Aaron Rodgers. Like when things weren't going well for him, you could see it on his face. You could see the disappointment as he's on the field. I don't want to see that anymore. So I hope he can come out and have a couple of really good games and really get his swagger back. If not, then it might be time to hang up the cleats, buddy.
Looking at the stats from last year, he actually finished. This is not bad, and he's a big time sleeper. He's like a backup quarterback you want to get with some upside. New scenery with the Jets. I mean, last year, 239 points, 13th amongst quarterbacks, 26 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. That could definitely be a lot better. I don't think that's good at all. We want to see him at least 35 touchdowns, get those interceptions down out of the double digits, at least 5 to 10 max, maybe 9 touchdowns is good. Like a guy like Brady was 25 and 9 last year. That's a good ratio, but you still want to see him with more touchdowns. He obviously has the young dynamic Garrett Wilson. He brought some of the weapons over, including Lazard. So,
But,
but what?
but, what are the running backs?
Oh, Brees Hall, man.
And
Dalvin Cook. I don't want to talk about it.
like, come
I
on. So it's not going to happen. The touchdowns aren't going to be there for Rodgers. The passing touchdowns aren't going to be
Yeah.
there because they're going to go to the running backs, dude.
Yeah, that's the problem. They got a good running system and maybe some short check downs for some touchdowns. But yeah, I
I
don't
think
know, man.
the Jets are going to win some games. They're going to do some pretty good stuff this year in football, in fantasy football.
Yeah.
Not so hot for a lot of guys.
It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And again, my concern with Rodgers was again what happened with Russell Wilson last year. New team, new offense, new scenery, bit of a downhill. I'm not saying it's going to happen with Rodgers. I think it's going to actually work out for him. But it's going to be interesting to see. I as a backup, guys, draft him at best, but I still think there's better backups you can get with more upside. Maybe a Kenny Pickett, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, some of these younger guys that are up and coming if you need a backup quarterback with upside. All right, next guy here, Tim. I remember, like, where's that sad music again here? I got to find it. Odell Beckham Jr. I remember, Tim, clear as day. This is like clear as day on a bright, sunny, shiny day. Years ago, everyone kept saying with Odell, draft him in the first round, draft him in the first round. Every year, like they would just save face just because he was a popular name. Now he's on the Ravens on a quarterback run first. The guy runs as much as anybody. He puts up top 10 running back numbers. They've got some, Dobbins. They've got, I think Melvin Gordon is there now. They drafted Zay Flowers, who's a capable wide receiver. Tons of options here. And then you got the tight end Andrews. Man, it's like there's so many targets, so many mouths to feed. And Lamar doesn't throw a lot. So Odell, I know I covered all the analysis here, Tim. I should have left it for you to talk a little bit here. But Odell Beckham Jr., I mean, at this point, I mean, he was never that. I mean, he was good, he had a couple good years, but what do you think? I mean, some people are going to draft him, which is sad at this point.
His first 3 years in the league were amazing. He was dynamic, and then it just fell right off, And I thought there might be a resurgence when he went to Cleveland with Baker Mayfield, but that was mainly predicated on Baker Mayfield being an amazing college quarterback. Yeah. We all know how that's worked out, and he's been crap ever since. Yeah. OBJ, once again, he's still just a name. He's going to make a few dynamic catches to keep himself somewhat relevant, but as far as fantasy value goes, it's just not there, and it hasn't been there for a while.
Can you believe it though? Like I remember when I started talking fantasy football, I was doing fantasy frames before that. I was doing like these custom sports frames where we put our sports cards in and you give them away as like a league prize. It was like a fantasy trophy. And I started that around 2014. I had Martavis Bryant endorsing the brand. I think it was that 2014, 2015 year when Odell made that catch. And this guy is already 30 years old. I mean, time just flies. He's entering his 9th season. He was a first round pick, guys. It drafted in 2014. And that's how time, it just flies by. And again, from a fantasy perspective, any wide receiver over 30, I'm just staying away. I don't care for. I just not doing it.
Yeah, you're definitely reaching that point. I kind of give them the 31 to 32 range, and then they really drop off. I mean, look at a guy. He goes against the grain. He's not the norm, but Julio Jones was amazing. I think into his almost mid-30s, probably give him about the 34 range. Lots of yardage, not so much in the touchdowns. Always hurt him, but still, it is possible. Wide receivers can stay pretty relevant fantasy-wise until that kind of early to mid-30s range. So he's getting to that hump. OBJ, who cares? To me, he's been done forever.
I should have played this from the beginning.
It's kind of like you're washed. Yeah, you're washing.
Yeah, it's washed. I like that. That's my washing sound. So that's how I feel about Odell. I think he's done. He's not. Maybe he has a couple of good games. He'll be hurt by week 5. Another guy that gets injured. All right, the next guy. I'm going to vent here a little bit because he's very disappointing to say the least. Okay, just imagine this: Adam Thielen. You're the alpha of the team. You're the wide receiver one. In comes Jefferson, and you just bend over and just take it, and you lose your job. You're done. You just fold over and you just that's it. You're done. You just walk. It just pisses me off. Like he was the guy. Jefferson's obviously a good receiver, but how do you just take it and give up and you fold like that? It's crazy.
Well, I mean, you talk about it all the time, though. You're in love with all these rookie wide receivers, rookie running backs. You always think they're going to surpass these veterans all the time. So you're always going for it. Why would you all of a sudden be like, oh, Thielen lost out to Jefferson's proven himself to be an amazing player? So I don't know. I don't know why you're so against it. Thielen still was really good for the touchdowns, but that was it.
Yeah, he was a touchdown guy. Now he's on a new team with a rookie quarterback. I'm not sold on Thielen at all this year. I'm staying away. The fact that he lost his job to Jefferson, it just shows that you're just useless. I mean, if you're still the alpha, you're strong. I know people are like, well, Jefferson's so
Yeah,
good. No, no,
yeah.
no. I'm on a team. I'm the wide receiver one. I'm not losing my job to anybody. The fact that he just accepted the loss. And this is what I'm saying. And so well, he does accept the loss. He's still
Well, let's put it this way. One of those years, they were kind of neck and neck. They were pretty close. Thielen was putting in the touchdown. Jefferson was getting more yardage.
yeah.
So it wasn't just an immediate lay down and die. But let's put it this way. Thielen has reached that point. To me, even, and I was a big fan. I was putting him above Jefferson, but he's just done. It's over.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not drafting him. We got 3 more players here. We'll rip through them here. Matt Stafford and Cup. I'm going to be fading them. Cup still coming off round 1. I have him as a 16 rounder, but I put right beside him Risky. He's as an option. Like again, if healthy and everything goes well, it'll be good. But I just feel that their last hurrah is done. They won the Super Bowl. What do you think here? I'm totally done with these two. I think
Yeah,
overall,
it's amazing that we even talk about Stafford because when he was with Detroit, we were totally against this guy. He was a
he sucks.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, so he made the move. We were still like, he's poop. He's crap. He's not going to do anything there. They end up winning the Super Bowl. But what's happened since?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
And
as far as Cup goes, I mean, still a really good wide receiver. Once again, he's not at that point yet where he's useless. He's probably got another couple years still in him that he could be fantasy relevant. Let's put it that way. And I'm sure he will be fantasy relevant for at least 2 more years.
yeah, I mean, he could. But again, Stafford, is he going to stay healthy? How's that going to work out? I'm fading all these. I'm pretty much fading everybody here other than Rodgers as a backup. And that's it. And the next guy here, I actually would draft. I think because Hopkins was added, we're talking Derrick Henry here. Because Hopkins was added, that's going to open things up a little bit more. You have some sort of threat on the outside, and it opens up more lanes for Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, last hurrah to him, or is this the end? Are you punching a late first round ticket by drafting him and watching him dwindle off into the sunset, and this is it? Or is he going to have one last strong 300 attempt year? Nobody really knows, and that's the thing. I felt better with him last year, due for a bounce back, and he did. This year, I'm kind of on the fence, but I'm leaning one last hurrah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was always against Henry as being a running back who didn't do much in the receiving game. I always thought, when it comes to PPR, you really need that. Well, he's one of the guys that's kind of proven me wrong. But man, his body has been taking a pounding, like you say, 300 plus
Yeah,
attempts almost every year. It's going to wear on him. You'll be lucky if you get this year being kind of his last one. If he makes another 2 years with the pounding he's taken, I would be absolutely amazed.
well, they call him a king for a reason. I mean, he's just been absolutely outstanding. And I look at last year, what do you have? 340, like every year. I'm trying to see if there's a
Yeah.
down year. 349 attempts last year. 2021, he got hurt, so he had 219. 378 in 2020, 303 in 2019, and then he had like a 250 in 2018. The first 2 years of his career were kind of like just getting integrated. But I mean, he had 3 seasons over 300. Like, I mean, that's a pounding.
That's a
That's a
lot
lot.
of punishment on your body.
That's a lot of work. And he's 29, so he hasn't hit that 30 mark, but 29 is like dinosaur years for running backs. You know what I mean? Entering his eighth season. He's not a young dude, but strong, capable, experienced. It's going to be interesting. Again, it's just one of those years. Like, I'm wearing a Titans hat here. You think that I'd be excited about him? I don't know. I got my question marks. If you do grab him, if you grab any player, there's no security in fantasy football. Make sure you guys always get a backup plan for a backup plan. You guys are going to be good to go.
So to me, when it comes to Tennessee, until they make an entire offensive change, until they move away from Tannehill, they bring in some better wide receivers, this is still the Derrick Henry show. So they're going to put everything on his shoulders. The only way they win is through Henry. So they're going to feed him, and God forbid something happen. I never want that to happen. I hate even talking about injuries because it's just a part of the game. But if he stays healthy, it doesn't matter. That team runs through him. He's the red zone guy. He's putting in the touchdowns. He's just going to be a beast. So, is he worth a late first round pick? Is what you're asking me? Hell yeah, he is.
Yeah. When you're talking for fantasy football draft strategy, I tend to stay away from all these old guys. I'm more of a draft a young rookie kind of guy with some upside. I mean, you get your secure guys, your second, third, fourth year players in the earlier drafts. You secure your sneaky seven, which are your first seven picks with a good combination of three workhorse running backs, two ace wide receivers, three ace wide receivers, and ace quarterback. I explained that all in 16 rounds. Make sure you guys grab it. But again, even in those first seven picks, I just feel I stray away from these older guys. I don't feel warm and fuzzy. Like I said, quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson's of the world, they're veterans as backups at best, for your
Yeah.
start.
So to me, you really go with the high risk. You go for
Yes.
the young running backs in the first couple rounds. I'm like, man, I played a little more safe, and I got to have me a guy that I feel is really solid and is going to put in guaranteed points. So you like to take that risk, and sometimes you get paid off with a big reward. Me, I like to play it a little more safe, and sometimes I still get screwed and the guy goes down.
Yeah, but for the most part, they're calculated risks. Like I tend to get those guys that are in a position to succeed. Now, Quentin Johnson, that's a risk because theoretically, Allen's the one, so he's not really in a good position, but he kind of is because I see Allen getting hurt and Mike Williams that can't stay healthy. I look at the situation though, and I like Jan, right? Rookie. Obviously risky, but he's going to be the workhorse. I just know it. So it's like educated risk and guys that are, primed to really, really shine. We saw it with Tyler Algier as a mid to later round guy I was drafting last year, right? Kenneth Walker, drafted in the second round. So I take a look at draft capital, where they were drafted, what team they're on, who they could potentially surpass. Is it easy to surpass them? So I look at all this formula before I make a decision and take that risk. So again, all this is explained in the 16 round draft. So you should make sure you guys have an optimal roster built with upside players and guys that are a little more secure. And you'll be light years ahead of the competition. So Tim, out of all this list, before we go, is there anybody here that you draft? You heard me.
I'm fine with three of these guys still, honestly. I think they're kind of reaching the top of the hill, but they might not be cresting over it yet. So Henry, Allen, and Adams, to me, are still viable fantasy players.
Yep, they are. But is this going to be the year where they punch their ticket to dinosaur land? We're going to have to see.
This might be the last hurrah, and then it's Jurassic Park.
That's it. Absolutely. All right, Tim. Thanks, guys, for being here. Smash thumbs up. We kept Connor out of the show today. Wanted to keep it light and to the point. People are want to get serious a little bit now. They want to make sure their draft is done right, so they want to get good information. That's what we do. Tim, thanks for being on, man. We appreciate you.
Right on, brother. Love it.
All right, guys. Enjoy your day. We'll talk soon. Got some content for me. Stay away from the old geezers, including Tim.
Oh,
We're out, guys. Talk soon.